Welcome back to Three Sheets. This is episode 6. It's been kind of a weird week. It felt weird to even do these stupid little episodes. And actually, practically one of the big problems was the ambulance sirens were constant. And so it was actually very hard to even attempt to film audio in this apartment. Yay! At any rate, we do want to provide some levity. And I've been seeing a lot of people I went to music school with, and people I came up with in the college music scene, posting videos playing on Facebook and Instagram, which has been delightful to see. I really enjoy all the people that are posting a cappella app videos. I've seen a lot of people posting trumpet duets where they're playing both parts. We're going to keep this going because we have a lot of books to get through. Anyways, this episode is going to be focused on the 90s. Not my favorite time in music, and I actually think a lot of records from that time sound very dated, but a lot of classic legendary albums came out of that time as well, especially the early 90s. So there are 3 records I want to focus on from that era. Sheet 1, REM Out of Time, is a classic REM record, most notably includes Losing My Religion and Shiny Happy People. I was 11 or 12 when this came out. And what year did this come out? Let's check. 1991. This was all over MTV, back when MTV was a thing that played videos. I have a lot of millennials I work with that probably don't have any concept of MTV being other than a repository to show Teen Mom 2 and 3 and the Real World Road Rules Challenge. MTV used to show a ton of videos. If an album was super popular, and even if a video was kind of super popular, now we call that virality in social media, they would play the videos to death. One of the reasons I can't really hear Full Moon Fever, any song from it by Tom Petty, is because of how many times I saw Free Falling and Running Down a Dream on MTV. I remember staying home sick one day from school and just watching MTV all day. And I remember Tom Petty videos being on, and I just was almost nauseous from how many times I saw them. Same for like a couple Bobby Brown videos from back in the day. Oh yeah. Anyways, REM Out of Time. This book was extremely hard to acquire. A lot of these books, even though they're 4 classic records, are extremely out of print. So if you go into your Guitar Center, you won't find REM Out of Time. I had to find it either through an Amazon reseller or an eBay auction. Was very glad to get it. The first track on Out of Time by REM is called Radio Song. This is the kind of song, when I got the book, I'd forgotten about, but when you hear it, you may remember it if you were around back in the day. The intro goes like this. The world is collapsing around our ears. I turned up the radio, but I can't hear it. And then it goes into like this funky kind of 90s groove. The book doesn't say Capo 1, but everything works way better on Capo 1. So there's this riff. The other guitar is going. And then there is a chorus. Everything shows and everything to hide. Look into my eyes. Listen to the radio. I turned up the radio, but I can't hear it. I can't hear it. So that's Radio Songs. Losing My Religion is one of those songs that I heard 10 million times in the early 90s, and I almost want to throw up when I hear it now. But it is still fun to play. I love to play this with other people. If we weren't on complete quarantine, maybe we'll do it sometime with some friends. But you've definitely heard this. You've definitely heard this lick. It's bigger. It's bigger than you, and you are not me. The links that I will go to, the distance in your eyes. Oh no, I've said too much. I said it up. That's me in the corner. Well, that's me in the spotlight, losing my religion, trying to keep up with you, and I don't know if I can do it. Oh no, I've said too much. I haven't said enough. You laughing. I thought that I heard you sing. I think I thought I saw you try. Every whisper. Yes, we know Losing My Religion like the back of our hands. The next tune is maybe not as well known from Out of Time, or you may have forgotten about it. It's a tune I love, and I heard Death Cab for Cutie play it at the Beacon Theater. They did a tour for Codes and Keys, but they performed with the Magic Orchestra for the whole show, which was pretty awesome. And then for the encore, they came out and did Near Wild Heaven, which is, I think, one of the better REM tunes. And it has the intro. So the chorus actually has a specific reference to inside, living inside, which I think we all can relate to right now. Near Wild Heaven, great tune. This album has Shiny Happy People on it. There's no chance I'm playing the whole tune. This was another video that was omnipresent. It's a duet with the B-52s. Shiny happy people holding hands. Shiny happy people holding hands. Yeah, I've had enough of this tune. Sheet number 2. Bush, 16 Stone. If you haven't heard Bush, well, you definitely have heard Bush because you've definitely heard Glycerine. If you were alive in the 90s and the aughts, you definitely heard karaoke or a cover band, somebody doing Come Down, Glycerine, even Little Things. Machine Head was a big one. Gavin Rossdale famously was married to Gwen Stefani for a long time until he was not. And now she's with Blake Shelton. This is kind of like the sound of the late 90s for me. For some reason, it reminds me of shows like Party of Five. I have performed Come Down, and I think Glycerine as well, in various cover bands or various vocal and guitar duos. This is an amazing record full of hits from the 90s. Their records after this were not very good. I have some of them as well, and I did not enjoy listening to them. However, this was during the 1990s when the record companies were at the peak of their financial gain, and even terrible records, like the second record from Bush, or it might have been their third record, still sold like 3.5 million copies. We're gonna go straight to the fire. It must be your skin, I'm sinking in. Must be for real, 'cause now I can feel. And I didn't mind, not my kind. It's not my time to wonder why everything's all gone white and everything's gray. Now you're here, now you're wet, and I don't want this. Remember that. Never forget where you're at. Don't let the days go by. Glycerine, glycerine. And on and on and on. But I feel like this was in so many teen dramas or movies like Scream or something. It wasn't in Scream, but movies like that would always have some like romantic moment or somber moment where this was like the most gravitas they could bring to it was by having Glycerine by Bush. Come Down by Bush is just kind of like very brooding, like it's all this kind of stuff at the beginning, kind of this like a industrial kind of brooding thing happening, all this kind of harmonics on weird frets. And the chorus is, of course, but I don't want to come back down from this cloud. It's taken me all this time to find out what I need, yeah. But I don't want to come back down from this cloud. It's taken me all this time. That kind of stuff. This was a great, in the 90s there was a lot of, I wouldn't call this grunge. I mean, this is kind of like what we would call modern rock or cock rock now. But at the time, a lot of music was heavier and a lot of music had this more aggressive sound. And in that, this record, for sure, was one of the most melodic records, I think. What year did this come out? This came out in 1994. Interesting. That's earlier than I thought. Little Things and Machine Head are way more grunge on the guitar. I don't think they're as important to go through. I just wanted to tip my hat to this record. It's in my collection, and I also have other Bush records. Razor Blade Suitcase, that's a record that's not very good, but still sold 3.5 million. Back then, we couldn't just stream it and see if we liked it or not. You kind of had to take a chance at the record store. Their track record was they made a great record on 16 Stone, so you hope that would be good too, but it was not. Sheet number 3, Tuesday Night Music Club by Sheryl Crow. Sheryl Crow won Best New Artist at the 1995 Grammys. All I Want to Do from this record won Record of the Year. This album had 6 singles and is one of the most solid debut albums by basically anybody. What's interesting, or not interesting, maybe sad, is that when you start collecting tab books, and by you I mean me, when I start collecting all the tab books that I possibly can, there's actually not many female artists at all, and female artists are obviously underrepresented in the marketplace pretty much everywhere. It sucks. So Sheryl Crow is actually a bedrock as far as female artists goes to have guitar-driven music that was commercially successful and did have books and Grammys and all that kind of stuff. Due respect to Sheryl Crow, also this record is insanely good. Has Leaving Las Vegas on it, Strong Enough, which is one of my faves. All I Want to Do, yeah, great record. So we're gonna jam through some of this. This is a tune that's actually stood the test of time. Has been covered by a lot of people. And I think the last time I heard it covered was Snail Mail with Katie Crutchfield and Waxahachie. They performed it together. But the lick at the beginning is kind of like the whole song. Is God, I feel like hell tonight. Tears of rage I cannot fight. I'd be the last to help you understand. Are you strong enough to be my man? Yeah, I mean that's basically the song, is that riff, which I think is a beautiful little riff to play on the acoustic. All I Want to Do from Sheryl Crow from Tuesday Night Music Club is pretty much like in the canon at this point. I mean, you'll hear it on jukeboxes at bars, you'll hear it at karaoke. It's also, it kind of slaps on record even still if you listen to it. Yeah, so the intro is all I wanna do is have a little fun before I die. And then it goes, there's like a little dobro happening there. That's in open E, which we're not going to tune to right now. And then the bridge is just that. It's A13, A sharp 13. All I wanna do is have some fun, but I got a feeling that I'm not the only one. All I wanna do is have some fun until the sun comes up on the cinnamon apple boulevard. You kind of have to make up your own arrangement there because there's a lot of interplay. So the guitar isn't so prominent on the record. It's like a sum of all the parts because there's a bunch of musicians playing together that make it turn into the thing it is, which is grooving. And this actually is kind of like a country record the way it's arranged, to where you have the dobro, you have a guy playing acoustic, there's probably somebody picking electric in the back, there's piano, there's bass, there's drums, there's probably other instruments too. But the combination of all of it makes this like great sound. And then Sheryl Crow is awesome up front. So this is a pretty badass record if you haven't listened to it in a while. And the record after it too, Sheryl Crow, is also really awesome. So yeah, blast from the 90s, this record. So I guess that's it for this episode of Three Sheets. These three records aren't the kind of records that I pull out all the time. In fact, like, I hadn't even really thought about them until I found out the books were available and bought them. And when they arrived, I would sit and listen to them. And it would take me back, but it's kind of one of those things where I listen to these records once and then kind of like put them away. I'm glad I have the books. And maybe if I'm ever in some like old guy cover band where we want to pull out some of these tunes across the library, you know, it'll be good to have them. But it's also just the fact that they're out of print. I like having the analog material in my presence. I don't know. It's weird. That's it for now. Stay strong out there. Stay safe. We'll see you sometime soon. It's cathartic to play music, even though if you pay attention to what's actually happening, it seems very frivolous and pointless at this point. But we have to stay sane somehow. Anyways, love you. See you soon.